What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry Questions Arc. Last episode, the family discovered the bodies of Rosa and Maria, and it's a little weird with Maria dying this early, but whatever. It was bound to happen eventually. She can't always be the survivor. Batware will probably not be a survivor this time. Well, quote-unquote survivor. I mean, everyone died in every game so far, so... I just mean like the last wave of people, and it just happened that Batware and Maria were part of that wave both times, so it probably won't be the case this time. I don't know who would even survive this time, but whatever. I think Rudolf, Kyrie, and Hideyoshi are going to get food, which I don't trust Hideyoshi going with them, but whatever. Let's continue. Compared to the time Rosa and Maria had gone outside, the winds were much stronger. Rudolph's group of 3 people jogged through the rose garden without umbrellas, holding their guns and a folded cart. If everything had been still and quiet without the wind and the rain, they would probably have kept their ears open and moved with caution. But in this rain, even if some suspicious person was hiding nearby, it would be difficult to notice them. Because of that, it had been Rudolph's plan to instead dash through the dangerous area. If there was a chance that their opponent was equipped with a gun, then walking slowly with their guard up would only make them targets. Taking swift action was probably the correct choice. They're probably so toast. The Rose Garden. It feels like we're just asking to be attacked. Please, let nobody come out of there. Even as Rudolph and Hideyoshi continued to run, they looked around restlessly, vigilant of their surroundings. Rose and Maria's deaths had not been caused by a projectile weapon. However, it was easy to suspect that the servants had been killed in such a manner. Will they come flying out of the dark, or will they take careful aim and snipe from the shadows? Either way, they couldn't relax their tension for even an instant. But even so, when they reached the overhang in front of the entrance to the mansion and escaped the reach of the raindrops, they felt themselves breathing a sigh of relief. No problems for the first step, unlike how it was for Rosa. Maybe they can't get their hands on us easily. I'd like to believe that. Kyrie, unlock the door while we keep a lookout. Sure. Returning home to the mansion with a pair of SPs makes me feel just like an executive. If we had a welcoming party of servants with a red carpet, it'd be perfect. A welcoming party, huh? You never know. Be careful. As the two cautiously surveyed their surroundings, Kyrie unlocked the entrance with the master key she had been given. It's open. Hideyoshi, could you take the front? I'll keep an eye on the rear. Understood. Kyrie, try not to move from my shadow. Okay, let's break in. Rear guard, roger that. Covering. Ah, men. Even in a situation like this, you're just playing around, aren't you? Give it up, that's how men are. Seriously though, that stench is awful. It felt like the air in the mansion was stagnant with a gloomy silence. And on top of that, it was still thick with the stench from Kinzo's burnt corpse in the boiler room. And they were struck with an uncontrollable desire to leave the mansion. No problems in the front, just a short dash to the kitchen. Let's finish this quickly and head home. This suit will get fumigated with Dad's stench. The 3 of them dashed towards the kitchen. They're probably not gonna... Yeah, go figure. If they don't die here, when will they? After they disappeared from the entrance hall, the new witch appeared there. They were lured out just as planned. Just as planned, they got caught in my trap. The witch grinned. Thinking about it now, no matter how unbearable their hunger had grown, it hadn't even been a few hours since Rose and Maria had been attacked and lost their lives. In that case, why had they needed to recklessly leave the guest house? Until that question could be dealt with, the only answer was that they had been called out by the witch's magic. They needed food. What reckless people. They'll never leave this mansion alive. Seal yourself, Locke. Seal yourself, mansion. The instant she proclaimed that. The mansion was sealed off into a separate world. Unless her barrier was undone, no longer would anyone be able to exit this mansion or enter it. Is she gonna dick around this time again? Spectacular. To think that even though barely half a day has passed since you succeeded the Endless Witch, you can use magic this well. That talent surprises me. It's almost as though you were born a witch. Well, I have been a witch since the time of my birth. Who taught you how to blink? That's what using magic is like for me. That's quite an analogy. What a fearsome person. The witch's face twisted with brutality. She just couldn't help looking forward to toying with someone's life again. Yep, go figure, she's gonna dick around. Well then. First up is Rudolf and Kyrie, but in what cruel way should I kill them? If you don't mind me saying, your predecessor has left instructions that you are to restrain yourself from committing murders of unnecessary cruelty. And there is an etiquette for offering the sacrifices from the 4th twilight onwards. For that, you must borrow the power of the 7 Sisters of Purgatory. Oh, really? Now that you mention it, that's right. I can only play as I like with that 2nd twilight. Boring. Just when I thought I could play to my heart's content like I did with Rosa. But that only counts for how they're killed in the end, right? Meaning, I could just kill them however I want over and over again, revive them, and then follow the epitaph during the last time I kill them, right? So in the end, no matter how I play, it isn't a problem. Who'd act well-behaved with an entertaining power like this? Okay, we're gonna have to pay close attention to how they're killed, because what's the 4th twilight again? Is that forehead? I'm just gonna... 4th is head. 5th is chest, 6th is stomach, 7th is knee, and 8th is leg. Okay. So head, chest, stomach, knee, leg. So it just goes up and down. Well, leg is anywhere, but knee is right in the center of your leg, so whatever. So in the end, no matter how I play, it isn't a problem. Who'd act well-behaved with an entertaining power like this? Her absurd argument was, for an endless witch, an extremely valid one. The etiquette that controlled the manner of killing the sacrifices of the 4th twilight and onward was represented by lines like gouge the head. However, that referred to the way those people died in the end. In other words, in the process leading up to that, she was free to tease and kill them however she wanted. She just had to keep on reviving them and follow the rules only when she killed them the final time. Though Ronove felt that her innocent cruelty was part of her talent as a witch, he was beginning to notice an innately brutal side of her. They do say that apprentices are the most brutal of witches, and now I see this may be true. Do as you wish, is what I would like to say, but here it may actually be wiser to show restraint. They have guns. Weapons with a high anti-magic power, such as guns, are the natural enemies of witches and demons. The witch stared blankly at this demon butler, who was surprisingly afraid of guns. So guns can hurt witches, what? That can't be right. Shouldn't witches be able to take a shot from a bullet easily? No. It would be just as fatal for a witch as it would be for a normal human. To prevent that weak point from being noticed, most witches rigorously strengthen their guard with a defensive protective barriers and furniture. Do I have any of those protective barrier things? Constructing a barrier to make even gun bullets ineffective requires much in the way of preparation and ceremonies. I am afraid to say that Beatrice currently has none of those. Furthermore, you are currently ill-prepared to summon furniture strong enough to block a bullet. So even though I've become a great witch with this much magical power, I really do have to be afraid of lead bullets. It's annoying, but I don't have a choice. So in that case, should I call some furniture to act as my arms and legs? Yes, leaving everything to your servants while not exposing yourself to danger is also a part of a witch's refined taste. Beatrice, leave this to the furniture and hide in a safe place. If this is the case, then I'm a little bit more confused about Natsuhi's death in the first game. I mean, we only heard one gunshot, I definitely remember that, so either Natsuhi was shot when she wasn't looking by another gun, or she shot herself, because either way the bullet that was shot hit Natsuhi, so... If she aimed it at the witch, obviously she didn't deflect it back into her forehead, which just wouldn't make sense. I guess my blanks theory is still probably correct then. I get it. I call in the 7 Sisters of Purgatory. I don't care who, any two. Leviathan and Belphegor responded to that call. Really? Belphegor? Isn't she the sloth one? The one who'd be the last to show up? Leviathan of Envy, right here. Belphegor of Sloth, right here. Show me your power. Your targets are Rudolf and Kyrie. Don't attack Hideyoshi. Come on, show me just how cruel you can be, furniture. My apologies, but we've received orders from the predecessor to refrain from unnecessarily cruel actions. But I think the predecessor's order does give us some leeway to tease them. Do you still want to go through with it? I get it, I'll compromise. Don't let them die easily. Thoroughly corner them and let them taste the fear of death before killing them. Will that be okay, Ronove? Yes, depending on the degree, I do not believe there will be a problem. Then go! Yes, leave it to us. Your opponents are armed with guns. For those such as you, dodging them should be easy. But if you are hit, the wound will be fatal. Proceed with an appropriate level of caution. Don't worry, we aren't that incompetent. Unlike Battler! The two Sisters of Purgatory vanished. Ronove bowed and vanished himself. Adios. There are even rules on how to kill them. Why do I have to be constrained by my predecessor? It's so rigid and boring. As the witch looked up at the portrait of the predecessor hung in the hall, she cursed. The three people had already arrived at the kitchen and were gathering food supplies. Considering the possibility of poison, they gave up on the alluring fruits and vegetables, and gathered a whole cardboard box full of only the safe canned foods. It was very heavy, but by piling it on the cart, they could carry it well enough. This should be more than enough for 10 people to hold out until tomorrow's breakfast. That should carry them until the boat arrives. The two men were supposed to be focused solely on guard duty, but the weight of the load was tough on Kyrie even with the cart. Hideyoshi, who wanted to show off his power, switched to be the cart pusher, and Rudolf and his wife took up the task of guard duty. So Kyrie has a gun now? I mean, Hideyoshi did say, leave the heavy lifting to me, but if he's Eva's accomplice, I don't think he'd give up the gun to Kyrie. With all this, even George and the kids will be full. The trip back will be a picnic, so let's go. When Hideyoshi vigorously announced their departure, Kyrie frowned and seemed to be gazing into the distance. There was a wall in that direction. No, if her gaze could go through that, there was the main hall beyond it. What is it, Kyrie? It's vague, but I've got a bad feeling gnawing at me. Kyrie stopped walking and narrowed her eyes even further. Women's intuition? At times like this, Kyrie's intuition often rang true, even when she didn't have a logical reason. Rudolf believed in that intuition. Yes, someone's probably waiting to ambush us. I didn't sense them before, but just now I felt it. Just now someone set up an ambush for us. Then there's no reason to go back the way we came. There's a back door over there, right? Let's move that way. Rudolf made to unlock the back door. When goods were carried into the kitchen, they never passed through the part of the mansion that the family came and went from. So outside the back door, there was probably a ramp used to carry things in. Surely they would be able to leave through there with the cart. What the heck? It's stuck! Damn, what's going on? Can't you open it? Nope. Is it broken? It isn't giving an inch. Just fucking slam the door open. Rudolf tried various things, first using force, then coaxing it. But the lock was as hard as stone and didn't even budge. Kick the door open. Oh, he does still have the gun. Okay, I guess I read everything wrong. Don't force it. Let's leave through the front entrance. Right now, it'll be even worse if we stand around wasting time. You think this is a trap? I don't know. Be careful. With strained expressions, the three of them returned to the hall again and headed for the entrance. They're toast. Who is it? The instant they exited into the hall, Rudolf noticed a suspicious shadow right in front of them and yelled. In that instant, a storm of gold leaves started blowing, and gold butterflies covered the area with a gold color. Yeah, they're fucking toast. Can't believe it. A lowly human predicted our ambush. It isn't my fault. I was hiding my presence. Don't hesitate. Fire! The two guns spouted fire. The lead bullets blasted right through the magical defense of the pair as easily as though it were a wet paper wall. But the two figures that should have been there had disappeared. Certainly guns were frightening objects for them, but there was no need to fear as long as they weren't hit. They at least had enough speed to dodge those. Wait a sec! You won't even give us a chance to say our names? This is why I hate humans. Leviathan was a full 10 meters from where she had supposedly been, popping her head out from behind the pillars in the shadow of the staircase and protesting. In accordance with Beatrice's orders, we will hunt you down. Our orders tell us to take some time and to tease you. You are free to resist, but know that it will be useless. That voice came from overhead. Yeah, I figured it was her. Belphegor could be seen on top of the hall chandelier. Elegantly looking down upon them, she proclaimed their execution with a cruel smile. What are these girls? Forget the cart. We have 2 opponents, so if we split up, they can't chase all of us. All 3 of them were well acquainted with the inside of the mansion. In case of a crisis, they had planned to run off in separate directions, returning to the guest house by breaking windows or leaving through a back door. Fighting was forbidden, as long as they could fully escape. Ha ha ha! In a tight spot, escaping is victory! The 3 of them ran into the depths of the mansion at full tilt. That pair of furniture calmly watched them go. Oh, it's this song again. Didn't play... This was a song that was played, at the end of Chapter 2, right? I'll kill the woman. You take the man. Understood. The furniture and the shadows of the pillars on the chandelier made their figures explode, and leaving behind only the sound of a hopping beetle knocking against the wall, they pursued their respective targets. As far as I know, depending on which stake a person dies from, it's because of one of the sins, right? Because Canon was killed by Satan both times, right? The Wrath one? So is it because he's filled with wrath trying to overthrow Beatrice or whatever? So, Belphegor's Sloth and Leviathan's Envy. I don't know which one Belphegor's going for, but Leviathan said she's going for the woman. What the hell is Kyrie jealous of? Their speed was overwhelming, and they easily blocked the others' paths of retreat. Let's see what this furniture's got. I hope they're at least able to amuse me. Beatrice, it may not be prudent for you to reveal your form unnecessarily. And you don't unnecessarily move your king away from the center. That's part of a monarch's and a witch's dignity. This song's fucking great, honestly. Belphegor was already blocking the way in front of Rudolf, who had boldly tried to escape to the 2nd floor. It's useless to try to resist or escape. You don't need to think about anything. Just close your eyes. I'll gently end it all for you. You'd make a good wife. Husbands love to hear that kind of thing when they come home all tired. To think you're still relaxed enough to speak with such insolence at a time like this. Beatrice, thank you for this excellent prey. Die! Oh! That's a interesting CG. Are there CGs like this for every character? Well, I know there's one for Rosa, because I was given one for her, for a thumbnail once, but whatever. Rudolf shot first. But before that bullet could hit her, Belphegor had already moved behind Rudolph's back. Nothing personal, kid. She then raised a purple curve springing out from her arm. I guess Rudolph's lazy, and that's why Belphegor went after him. However, incredibly, before that arm could decapitate Rudolf, he had swung his gun behind him. The barrel remained pointing behind his back from the same motion with which he had reloaded the sawed-off gun one-handedly. Okay, I gotta say this again. The fucking music in this game is way too good for a visual novel like this. This is a visual novel. And this sounds like the kind of shit you'd see in an action game. Like, this sounds like the kind of shit that should be playing in, like, not necessarily Kingdom Hearts. I mean, Kingdom Hearts has some epic tracks, but I don't think it'd fit it. Probably something more like, I don't know, Castlevania or Devil May Cry. I have no idea. It was pointing right at Belphegor's chest. Click, cha-clunk. It was the sound of the ejected empty cartridge finally hitting the wall after the reload. Reload! In other words, it meant that the next shot was already fully loaded. Without turning around, his gun pointing right at Belphegor's chest, Rudolf grinned. Not bad, for a middle-aged man. Don't look down on the generation that loves old westerns, okay? You brats don't know anything about the refinement of lever action. Did he actually get her? Just like Rudolf, Kyrie was also confronting a demon stake in the 1st floor corridor. What a moron. You could have just escaped with your husband. You do know that was your final farewell just now, right? Don't worry. This kind of thing is my husband's specialty. I'm sure he'll come for me on a white horse soon. Because he's never failed to come and save me when I'm in trouble. Not even when Asumu was around. Who's Asumu? Was that his first wife? Oh, maybe that's who she's jealous of. Huh. What a happy couple. I'm jealous. I'm Leviathan of envy. Envy itself is my power. My anger, my lifeblood. I agree. Envy is the source of a woman's power. And if that is power, I won't lose to a girl like you. Imagine saying that to the one who governs envy. You actually think I'd let you two be reunited? I'll give you a tragic farewell. The arm Leviathan swung was trailed by a purple curve. It was a magic blade that cut with the power of malice. Kyrie blocked it with her gun. Even though the magic blade should have cut through the metal like butter, the gun, with its extremely high magic resistance power, was able to block the blade as easily as if it were a rolled up newspaper. So she does have a gun? What the fuck? Did Hideyoshi have the gun, or did she have the gun? Because Eva and Kraus should also have a gun, but there's only 4 guns. I'm confused. Do all 3 of them have a gun then? Did Hideyoshi actually give his gun to Kyrie? I have no idea. Rapidly, 2 times, 3 times. It blocked all of them. And without missing the opening created when that purple curve took a swing upward, Kyrie kicked Leviathan in the stomach with her heel. Leviathan was knocked away like a lightly dancing feather. Before the demon snake's feet touched ground again, Kyrie was already pointing her gun directly at Leviathan in midair. From that position, the 2 women who had called envy a form of power met each other's gaze. Oh shit, it's a zoom in. Can you do it? Can you pull that trigger? Oh, and she has a CG also. I guess every adult has a CG like that when they're holding a gun. I can be brutal when my husband isn't around. Oh, okay, back to these guys. Ow, 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 ow. Rudolf tumbled down the staircase. He'd been gradually cornered by Belfiger and had been pushed back into the main hall they'd started from. The predecessor's furniture is pretty good. They aren't very flashy, though. Beatrice, it isn't over yet, and it's dangerous to show yourself. Don't tell me you're Eva? That used to be my name, but it's different now, Rudolf. You don't have to tell me. You're gonna say you're the Golden Witch Beatrice, right? How did you know? Since the time Rosa was killed, I had a vague idea. Rosa, forgive me. Forgive me for sending the sister you hated down to the hell you're in. Beatrice, look out! Rudolf mercilessly pointed the barrel of his gun at the witch who claimed to have once been his sister. But Belfiger would not permit that and attacked savagely. She dashed, disappeared, and headed for Rudolph's back. Nothing personal, kid. She dodged that shot and again headed for Rudolph's back. And vanished over and over, instantly moving into Rudolph's blind spots. Belfiger's supposed to be Sloth. Why is she so quick? It was almost like she was a fairy. As she blinked in and out of vision, Belfiger incessantly drove towards Rudolph. Oh, and the song ended. So it's probably gonna replay, isn't it? Maybe this is kind of fun. Rudolph, let me sit back and watch to see how long your brave efforts last you. At that time, there was a dull tearing sound, along with Rudolph's cry of anguish. Rudolph's reaction to the dance of the purple curve that pressed upon him had finally been too slow, and he'd let it lightly cut his flank. Ouch. That single wound slowed him down just once. Nope. That led to a new wound, which slowed his actions again. Oh, there he goes. Now he's dead, I guess. Belfiger's dance began to swallow Rudolph whole. Watching Rudolph's body gradually get carved up, his former sister let out a shrill laugh. Alright, Rudolph's fucked, I guess. Leviathan could no longer hide her irritation that Kyrie hadn't suffered a single fatal wound. I really am a moron. Among the 7 sisters, I was always the slowest to grow. I was always slow, always weak, always stupid. That inferiority complex became envy, and when I convert that into power, I gain a strength greater than that of any of the sisters. It's important for young girls to have a moderate inferiority complex. It teaches women about cosmetics and hard work. I don't like having to use the limits of my power against mere humans, but I can turn my envy of your ability to trust completely in your husband into power. What the fuck did she just say there? I can turn my envy of your ability to trust completely in your husband into power. Okay. I don't like it. Why are you so relaxed when you're fighting for your life? I wonder. I get it. You're fully convinced that your husband will come to your rescue and save you. Isn't it incredible, that trust of yours? It's enough to make me jealous. What kind of trust do we sisters have for each other? The sisters are always looking down on each other, trying to thoroughly lambast each other when things already look bad. I've always been bullied by my sisters. I've always wanted just one person to take my side. So when I see you with a single ally who's completely trustworthy, I feel the strongest envy. Ah, that confident expression of utter belief in your husband. I can feel it giving me power. I might even surpass that. The speed of sound. Can the stakes of purgatory take on Sonic the Hedgehog? Leviathan turned herself into a stake, and the speed of her flight as she attacked was proportional to the strength of her envy. Since the day my sisters looked down on me, I was jealous from the bottom of my heart of the other 6 who grew quickly. I was jealous for 7 days and 7 nights. You can see the power I gained as a result in my speed. Die, Ushiromiyas Kyrie! The demon stake exposed her true form, leaping about at a terrible speed. The noise from her bouncing off the wall sounded like a machine gun. By now, Kyrie probably couldn't tell if it was a single stake or a swarm of beetles flying and bouncing around. Leviathan was over 100% certain of her victory, believing in it from the bottom of her heart. Then Kyrie spoke with an unbelievably calm voice. I was the one who went out with Rudolf first. Asumu blatantly cut in between us. Oh, so she is jealous of Asumu, and shrewdly got pregnant. I don't blame Rudolf. That woman used her body as a weapon to seduce him, and then acted even more repulsively, cornering Rudolf and forcing him to get engaged to her. Asumu had been carrying Batware, and at the same time, I was also carrying a boy. As fate would have it, our delivery dates were on the same day. Oh, Batware has a half-brother? Really? Then Asumu gave birth to Batware, but I had a miscarriage. Oh, never mind. I think about it sometimes. What if Asumu had had the miscarriage and I had been the one to give birth? Would Rudolf have broken off his engagement and married me? But I couldn't give birth to my child, so until Asumu died, and until I got pregnant with Anj, I cursed Asumu and was jealous. So Anj and Batware are half-siblings then. Okay. Let Asumu die. Then I want him to marry me. In my envy, I kept cursing like that over and over until Asumu finally died. I was certain that I'd use the power of magic to curse and kill Asumu. But that didn't quell the flames of my envy. Don't tell anyone, okay? Every time I look at Batware, I remember that woman. Every single time I look at him, I think that if only my child had been born, he would be the same age. I'm still jealous of her, tormented by her, even now and from now on, into the future for all eternity. You say you were jealous of your sisters for 7 days and 7 nights. That's right. Oh God. Don't make me laugh, little girl. How could you understand the madness of a woman whose man was stolen from her and who burned with envy for 18 years? Okay, of course Kyrie's fucking psycho. Everyone just has to be. Ah! If Leviathan had the power of 24 hours times 7 days, or 168 hours of speed, then the power that Kyrie had piled up was 24 hours in 1 day, 365 days in 1 year, and 18 whole years. Even without counting leap years, that was 157,680 hours. Compared to Leviathan's power and speed, it was more than 938 times greater. So then, even if Leviathan can soar at the speed of sound, 1,225 kilometers per hour, to Kyrie's eyes, it only looked like 1/938th of that. Man, I'm learning physics again. I thought I took that class last year. Which means 1,225 divided by 938 is a speed of 1.3 kilometers per hour. They say a human's walking speed is 4 kilometers per hour, so it was even less than half of that. This is almost the same speed as a baby crawling on the floor, which means... So Kyrie actually defeated Leviathan? I like how they even muffle the music. It's crazy. In the time it took the demon stake to move at a pace so slow that you could count all the bits of dust floating through the air, Kyrie looked at it with pity. She pitied the slowness at which it came towards her. Then she lazily raised the barrel of her gun, almost as though she was trying to swallow the demon stake up with the gun barrel. You're completely lacking in both romance and envy. Try harder next time, little girl. I'm kinda glad that I went to the PS3 version before this, because my god, if I didn't have the CGs for that part, I'd be like, this is kinda lame. But nope, it's actually fucking ridiculously cool. Oh, so she's still... What? I'm confused what's going on now. Who's dying and who's not? Rudolf, what happened to all that vigor from a couple seconds ago? You're supposed to slice up a fish while it's still flopping around. After it dies, it isn't interesting anymore. That's enough. Why not kill you now? God damn it. I'm surprised you managed to endure this long after being carved up. That's enough. From now on, you don't need to think about anything. I'll steal away your life painlessly. Wait, there's a favor I want to ask. At the very end, I want to do one of those. What do you mean, one of those? You know, that thing you see in all the westerns. We start with our backs together, walk 3 steps, and then bang. What? Okay. A duel. Very well. If that will satisfy your regrets in this world, I'll accept. Rudolf moved his wound-covered body and turned his back to her. Belphegor responded and turned her back to his. Belphegor had an honest nature that was uncommon in a witch's furniture. Let me warn you, even if you press the barrel of your gun between my eyebrows, I can move instantaneously, even faster than you can pull the trigger and have the bullet reach my skull. Yeah, I can feel that already. You're faster than a bullet. I have agreed to this out of respect for your courage in challenging me to a duel despite that knowledge. Thank me. Well, you're an honest and principled person, and a good woman. You might just steal my heart away. No wonder Kyrie is so fucking crazy. Let's begin. 3 steps will do fine, yes? First, 1 step. 2 steps. 3 steps. Is that okay? Yup. And since you still haven't noticed, after walking 3 whole steps, it's my victory, miss. What? Oh, Rudolf, you fucking fooled her. Good one. Rudolf turned around and fired a bullet. However, Belphegor could easily see through the speed and trajectory of a bullet like that. It should have been no problem at all to dodge it. But she got hit anyways, I guess. But a spray of fresh blood flew about. Belphegor had set up an adequate magical defensive barrier. But before an incarnation of anti-magic power such as that bullet, it was completely meaningless. What are you doing? Why'd you get hit? The bullet had hit Belphegor right in the chest. The pain from the lead caused her to grimace, as did the pain from the denial of magic. Forgive me, I'm a coward of a man. What a killjoy, to think that furniture of a witch can be defeated by a human. Know your shame, worthless, pathetic. If only you just grovel and die. Quit it, sis. She could have dodged it, but she didn't. She realized that you were in the line of fire, sis. So this faithful girl took it without dodging, protecting you. At the very end, she saw that I was pinning the rook and the king. Everything's a chess metaphor. Literally everything's a chess metaphor. Spectacular. Don't hate me for it. I plan to resign if you noticed it while you were taking those 3 steps. You added those 3 steps. Out of consideration for me, didn't you? I didn't even try to think about it. I was lazy. Wow, humans can defeat those stakes. You were a good woman. Go to heaven before me and get yourself all made up. I'll definitely come and chat you up. Rudolf plans on cheating on Kyrie, I guess. As Belphegor slowly fell over, she lost even the power that kept her in human form, and she grew small like gold dust melting into thin air. At that point, Kyrie dashed in. It seemed that she had somehow defeated her pursuer by her own hands. As she pointed the barrel of her gun straight at the witch, she ran up to the wound-covered Rudolf. Are you okay? Were you chatting someone up just now? Yup, a good woman. No match for you, of course. Sorry, sis. It's checkmate. They're combining the CGs now, Christ. The 2 of them pinned the witch down the barrels of their guns. Worthless furniture. To think they'd be beaten by human opponents. Worthless. Stupid. Boring. Beatrice, we should retreat for now. There is no furniture or a barrier to guard against bullets here. Oh, fuck. She does not care. Why are her teeth fucking sharp? My mangle. The witch began to let out a muffled laugh. It surprised not only Rudolf and Kyrie, but Ronove as well, because a situation like this, with two guns pointed at her, was not one that even a witch could just laugh off, but the witch laughed with pleasure. Well, it's only natural that the predecessor's worn-out furniture couldn't do it. I need to get new furniture that's suitable for me. I use them out of obligation, but I've always hated second-hand stuff. As she said that, she looked down at Belfinger's remains, which had already finished turning into a pile of gold dust with disgust. I don't know what you're talking about. Be a good girl and put your hands up. Then the witch obediently raised her hands, but instead of raising her hands because a gun was being pointed at her, it looked more like she was a conductor facing an orchestra, waving her conductor's baton. Come, arise, furniture suitable for me. Not that cheap furniture, much stronger ones, cruel ones. Stop this bizarre act. I'll pull the trigger. Is she actually summoning new furniture? Aren't there just the stakes in Ronove, or am I forgetting something? In response to the witch's call, the hall was once again buried with the color of gold. As the brilliantly radiant gold butterflies danced, it felt as though they were being sucked into an ocean of gold leaf. Ronove was shocked at that upsurge in magical power. After all, it far surpassed that of his former master. As her eyes were dazzled amidst this gold flash, a gunshot could be heard. Either Rudolf or Kyrie had fired a round. Then when the gold flash subsided, at the very least, the witch was standing there, looking cool and composed. The bullet? Kyrie must have fired it into her, but the witch had not been hit anywhere on her body. There it is. The bullet had been fastened in midair right in front of the witch's chest. What? A bulletproof barrier. In an instant, a barrier that would require a significant amount of preparation even for the predecessor had been... Ronove's face was twisted in shock. And the surprises did not end there. The cloud of gold butterflies had created two humanoid forms. Oh. It was a furniture summoning. Okay, I think I kinda remember these two. The butterflies peeled off and flew away, and beneath them, furniture in the shape of girls showed themselves. Okay, you see, I do remember these two, but I thought they were from something different. They were from Umineko? I could have sworn they were from Show by Rock, and if you know what that is, you can probably see why. They literally just look like idols. The Chester Sisters Corps. Even the predecessor wasn't able to summon Pendragon's memorial troops on a moment's notice, and to do it so easily. Fuck, now I have to give voices to these two. Well, they seem kind of like Nihihi type characters, so... I don't know. Chester 410, right here. Chester 45, right here. We'll just give her the Mekon voice, it doesn't matter. You two are suitable furniture for me, I take it. From reading a picture book out aloud, to going on a date, to shooting down meteorites, we'll take care of anything. You fucking knew it. If we don't take care of it, Pendragon will get mad at us. Please, your orders, great Lady Beatrice. Rudolf. Oh, that's Kyrie. Rudolf, let's run for it. We're no match for these ones. Sure. Kyrie definitely heard warning sirens going off in her head, thanks to the same feeling that had alerted her to the ambush by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, or two of them. Without hesitation, they escaped. As the witch elegantly watched them leave, she commanded her new furniture. This is an order. Kill the two who ran away. Then bring the corpses back here. I'll bring them back to life and play with them over and over. The witch's expression twisted into an evil smile. Even though she feared that expression, Lucifer appeared and spoke. What happened to my sisters? Forgive my presumption, but the predecessor asked that you avoid brutal actions of that sort. When the witch stared at her with those terrifying eyes, Lucifer was struck dumb. She was frustrated. It was so boring not being able to let her own power and cruelty run wild. This annoying furniture of the predecessor kept telling her to show restraint, bringing her irritation to a peak. Oh, it's Lucifer of Pride. Long time no see, yeah. How you doing? Really? Let's play again together sometime. Oh, fuck. You mustn't whisper, 410. You'll get in trouble. Let us carry out the great Lady Beatrice's order at once.
Well, yeah, we are on the job right now, yeah.
I hate that.
410, roger that. Preparing for sniping pursuit combat. Accumulating terrain data. Accumulating data for firing. Data link with 410.
The fuck is all this Hebrew?
410, data received. Target lock acquired. Commencing terrain calculation error correction. Formulating firing curve. Supplemental control point calculations complete.
Wow, I'm learning so much math.
Data link to 45. 45, data received. Checking hazard zone. Ah, that's no good. Lucifer, better get out from behind us, or you'll get roasted by the back blast.
Thanks to their paired measurements, the Chester sisters were able to instantly calculate the terrain throughout the mansion and the coordinates of their targets, as well as a firing curve to reach them. That's right, their shots could be guided to follow a curved line. None could escape. The precision guidance used by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory was nothing more than a cheap knockoff of the ability these two held. Oh, they have a CG too. Everyone just has CGs. There's just so many CGs. I'm glad I'm not playing the Steam version anymore.
45. Firing preparations concluded. Ammo type selected and loaded.
As the two of them faced each other, it was as though they were both pulling back a bowstring together. Oh, I guess they are then. A dazzling gold arrow was readied there.
410. Firing.
After giving that announcement, they released a single arrow together. As the path taken by the gold-sparkling snake of light drew a curve, it followed the direction that Rudolf and Kyrie had escaped to in rapid pursuit. It returned through the corridors, crawled over the floor, chasing them as it drew a beautiful curve. Oh god. No one could block the guided shots of the Chester sisters. No one could escape from them. And their strength could pierce all physical and magical defenses. It was quite a merciless guided weapon of certain death. However, among mythical class soldiers, it was a weapon used by pretty much everyone. It was very commonplace for them, and very extraordinary for those of the everyday world. What the? When he noticed something rapidly chasing them and turned around. Ah, shit. The exact position of Rudolph's heart was pierced by the gold snake. It all happened in an instant.
Rudolph?
After the gold snake pierced Rudolph, it swooped down to the floor, drawing a beautiful spiral, coiled itself around Kyrie's legs, and crawled up to her chest. Ah, they're both toast. And just like Rudolph, it pierced the exact location of her heart. That doesn't work with the epitaph, though. And all of that happened in an instant. It pierced Rudolph and then Kyrie. So they died, dropped to their knees, and fell over at almost the exact same time.
What's this? Talk about overwhelming. Ridiculously easy, isn't it? This is the kind of furniture I need. Way different from predecessors' second-hand furniture. Come on, bring their corpses here. I'll keep reviving them until I'm bored, and I'll try killing them in as brutal a way as I can think of. To think being a witch could be so much fun. That taking a life could be so much fun.
Did Hideyoshi get away? I mean, he could have at this point. From the time humans are born, the most shunned action they can take is the murder of another human. It's only natural that humans can't understand how pleasurable it can be to break this taboo. But she was no longer a human. She was a witch. And there were some pleasures that only witches could understand. By now, she had tasted those pleasures and was totally immersed in them. After learning that the contents of the forbidden pot were honey, she could no longer live without them. No, maybe the contents were honey because they were forbidden. Anyway, by killing humans gruesomely, and doing it over and over, she could feel the drug-like pleasure even now. As the witch rolled over laughing, the gold snake that had just been shot returned as though being reeled in. At the tips, two people were pinned and dragged along. Shit. The witch's order had been fulfilled. Rudolf and Kyrie had been killed instantly, and their corpses had been carried back.
Chester 45 and 410, order execution complete. We await your next order, Great Lady Beatrice. Please, your orders. From babysitting to playing online games with you, to shooting down a space shuttle, we'll take care of everything. It looks like these two are the sacrifices for the 4th and 5th Twilights. So in the end, I'll need those worthless 7 sisters. Or are they the 5 sisters now? I need those guys to pierce and gouge the forehead and chest. But I can do that at the very end, and I'm free to play in any way I want until then, right?
Oh, hi.
Wait! Have you already forgotten what I've told you? Oh, it's you, predecessor. Do you have any complaints?
Sorry if you hear my dog barking, she just kinda does that. Of course I do. You're doing whatever you please, aren't you? Why haven't you followed my directions?
What's wrong with doing as I please, predecessor? Anyway, I don't plan on deviating from the rules of the ceremony in the slightest. I'll definitely clean those 2 corpses up later and drive stakes into their forehead and chest.
I'm telling you, that is not the problem. If you act so undignified and cruel, some people might take it badly.
You mean your opponent in that game, the one you're supposedly fighting against somewhere? Ronove told me.
Oh. Damn, that blabbermouth. Well, to be perfectly honest, that's how it is. If you go a little too far, that person will object, you see?
Why can't this person just complain to me directly instead of making you take a message? That coward.
Well, this is a resident of a different world from yours. There's no choice but to use me as an intermediary. Well, that's besides the point, but...
Which means that this person can interact with me even if they wanted to, and I can't interact with them even if I want to either. Simply put, this is a completely unrelated person from a world that distant, right?
Indeed. For example, perhaps you could say these worlds are like very close parallel lines. The distance between them is quite small, but because the lines are parallel, they will never cross. For now, that should be a convenient way for you to view that world.
They never cross, which means... that world has nothing to do with me. If you're speaking for that person when you tell me to show restraint, please pass this message on to them.
To them? What should I say?
It's none of your business, so disappear, you old hag. If only you'd just give up and die.
Oh god. Why is she assuming that Battler's an old woman? Hey, I'm not Kumasawa!
Yes, he's not me.
Wait, what are you doing here?
I died, but I guess I'm alive? I don't know. Just kidding, this is a rendition of my voice. Alright, I'm gonna go back and die now. I'm going to the 2nd floor guest room. I'm gonna fucking sleep.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Since it was a friend of yours, I just assumed she'd be a woman. By old hag, I'm definitely not talking about you, predecessor, so please don't get mad at me.
When she spoke, the witch was looking straight into Beato's eyes. Anyone present would be able to tell what she meant by it.
Predecessor, there's something I find really strange. Why do you have to play a game with someone from another world and have him accept that you're a witch?
Well, as to that, it's because making all humans accept the existence of witches is a prerequisite of perfect control. There was a single holdout who simply wouldn't accept me as a witch.
Why would you need the approval of a human? Witches are witches and can use magic, so why should we need to be acknowledged by humans?
Well, like I said earlier, magic is...
I am a witch. I can use magic without anyone's approval in particular, so what's your point?
In this world, right? However, since that person won't accept it, how should I explain it?
I don't need you to. After all, isn't this all about a different world that never crosses this one? In other words, that world might as well not exist. You fighting a game in another world is absolutely no different from you telling me about stuff from your imagination. I'll say it again, it has nothing to do with me. And I am already a witch. Predecessor, somehow or another, it seems that you can't become a witch as long as this person doesn't acknowledge you, but I'm different. Even though no one has acknowledged me, I'm an excellent witch already. Since you are my predecessor, I will formally pay you respect, but that's out of kindness, not out of duty. I won't ask for your advice anymore because I clearly know what I should do and how I should play from now on. So I will carry out the murder of 13 people as a final act of respect for you. However, there is absolutely no reason for you to interfere with the methods I use, or what I do afterwards. Therefore, I'll be counting on you in that regard.
God, she's a bitch already. I mean, she's been one, but whatever. You've been around for like 3 episodes, you need to calm down. At a glance, those words seemed obedient, but they contained within them a clear parting of ways. She was no longer under Beato's care in any way. That's why she was clearly saying nothing more than don't get in the way of my fun. Beato understood that, and was dejected, realizing that no matter how she explained it, she wouldn't be able to make the witch understand. I see. Then it is no longer my problem. Go and learn with your own body how magic ceases to exist when you lose your respect for it.
I wish you'd tell me where the respect was in that carefree rampage of yours up until now.
After hearing that, Beato could not respond, because she remembered hearing exactly the same thing from her teacher.
Okay now, Chester sisters, see off my predecessor on her way back. Predecessor, please leave this place.
If you don't, we'll be scolded.
Throughout her body, Beato felt something unseeable from the Chester sisters. which could only be described as an oppressive sensation. How do you pronounce that anyways? Is it Chiester? Is it Chester? Chister? I think Chiester sounds best, so we'll just say that. Most likely, they were initiating firing calculations. It was an action much like taking out a gun and cocking it. Even Beato could not escape from the Chester sisters' attacks without any preparation. In the past, she had placed her greatest trust in them, so she knew how terrifying they were down to her very soul. Predecessor, if you would retire, I would not recommend damaging Beatrice's mood any further.
Predecessor. I understand. I shall leave for now. I'll watch over the end you eventually reach at my leisure.
It was almost infinitely close to a parting shot. So after Beato vanished, the witch and her furniture doubled over laughing. And Bat was just like, literally, what the fuck?
Well, I do understand. The endless power is fun. The joy of freely toying with an extremely limited life cannot be explained to those who have not tasted it. I can understand that feeling of being possessed with a pleasure similar to drugs. It must have been quite fun, judging by your antics in the past. Are you saying it's just like when you tried to admonish me in the past, over and over, and I did not listen? Why have you started trying to scold that child for her actions? Well, there's a single large difference between you and that child. That child may already be a witch. Of course, you are also a witch. At least in the world on top of the game board. However, to be acknowledged as a witch in the world outside the game board, you need to have Battler, your opponent in this game, acknowledge you. You must have understood that when you started the game. I thought that if I could show off a whirlwind of proof that I am a witch, blow away his desire to deny me and make him surrender, he would acknowledge me as a witch. It all went my way last time, so I thought it was just a breath away. It's actually the opposite. Battler was disgusted by your brutality. He did not step up to the plate as a player because he acknowledged you as a worthy opponent. It was based on a strong animosity, his resolve to completely deny the existence of a brutal witch. In your foolishness, you probably felt that Battler's acceptance of his role as your opponent was a first step towards making him acknowledge you as a witch. However, it was actually the opposite. Battler challenged you in this game because he was absolutely determined not to acknowledge you. No matter how hard the thoughtless north wind blows, the traveler only wears his cloak even tighter. You were committing a huge error from the very beginning. This game is not torture to make Battler surrender. It is a test in which you must try and make Battler accept you. I vaguely noticed that. The last game was a tough one for Battler, but as it seems you've already noticed, this game is a tough one for you. Well, what should I do from now on? Think about it for yourself. Fortunately, you have already given up your pieces on the game board to the new witch. You should have plenty of time to reflect upon your own self.
Ah, and she's crying again.
But Battler's already a massive hostility to me. He won't accept witches, so he won't accept me. In that case, what can I do to make him accept me? Are you saying that if the north wind doesn't work, then I should shine on him as the sun from now on? Me, after all this time? It's October now. The Halloween season.
It's Christmas season, thank you. It is November.
It's a month of rebirth, when the sun dies and is revived again. When the sun is weak right after reviving, it may not reach far through the cold winter winds. However, it slowly grows and is eventually able to hail the coming of spring. At that time, the traveler may even fold up his cloak.
But hemispheres, my guy. In the North Hemisphere, right now, it is fall. In the South, it is spring. So, what?
Are you saying that I've been mistaken?
Huh. The beautiful hall of the Ushiromiyas mansion was covered with a golden sparkle like gold leaf, and stained deep red with thick spurts of blood. The number of deaths given to Rudolf and Kyrie had long surpassed anything you could count on both your fingers and your toes. The witch was breathing so hard her shoulders shook, but it wasn't because she was tired. She just couldn't hide her ragged breaths caused by her still uncontainable excitement.
How fun is it to do as I will with people's lives and deaths? With the power of the endless witch, the endless everything I paint with my mind becomes reality. No matter how sloppily I mash them, I can revive them, returning them to normal with just a snap of my fingers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hideyoshi killed them. I mean, he hasn't come back at all, so, yeah.
Because in the end, I just have to restore the corpses and follow the epitaph as an afterthought.
It depends on if she actually does follow the epitaph.
Hey, you guys, have you ever sliced a stuffed animal's stomach open? Never. What about you, 45? No! I have never done it. My apologies. That's understandable. Normally you wouldn't. Especially not if it was a stuffed animal you liked. But I've always thought about it.
You're a fucking psycho.
I always thought about peeking in and seeing what was packed inside this fluffy stuffed animal I loved. If you cut it and looked inside, your curiosity might be quelled, but the stuffed animal would be broken. So even though you want to see, you can't. You understand that feeling, right? The power of the Endless Witch can truly grant that wish. As I am now, I can slice a stuffed animal all I want. And yet with a bit of magic, I can return it to normal and revive it. In other words, it means I've broken all limitations in this world. As I am now, I don't have to hesitate or give up an idea or anything. That joy. There's probably no one who can understand it. No one other than me, the Golden Witch.
As the witch let out a mad war cry, she revived Rudolf and Kyrie again. And faster than they could realize it, she killed them right away. And she made it known that something other than cotton was stuffed inside those two. You might want to stop that. Oh. Hideyoshi, hi, now you have a... What? But Kyrie had a gun, and now Hideyoshi has a... Huh? Where'd he get the gun? From Eva? Quit it, Eva! Huh? Ah, it's you. How long have you been there? In that gruesome hall, Hideyoshi appeared with his gun readied. The witch had sealed the mansion with a barrier, so Hideyoshi had nowhere to run. Oh, he was in there the entire time? He'd probably picked up Rudolph's or Kyrie's gun and come back. Oh, okay. The gun, which should have been something to be feared, was apparently no longer an object she took seriously now that she was overflowing with magical power. Her bold expression didn't flinch in the slightest. Why did you have to kill Rose and Maria? And Rudolph and Kyrie?
Huh? I'm the head of the Ushiromiya family, the Witch of Rokanjima. Everything that occurs on this island is all up to me. Whether they happen to be alive or dead at any particular moment in time is meaningless to me.
You went mad after finding Father's gold. Just how high must that gold have been biled? Can't even imagine it. It must have been enough to steal away your sanity.
But if there was that much gold...
why didn't you think of graciously splitting it up?
You misunderstand. All of that belongs to the Golden Witch. No one is qualified to touch it except me.
What are you? Don't tell me you're that thing Eva told me about long ago, the witch Eva from when she was young.
That's right. I am the me from my years as a girl, who's been living in the heart of your wife, Ushiromiya Eva, this whole time.
Okay, depending on what happens next might change my theory a bit.
And I'm a witch. Eva became an adult by forgetting me, so she can't use magic.
All kids get their heads filled with innocent but cruel ideas sometimes. When I was young, I'd sometimes go around stepping on ants and pulling the wings off dragonflies. However, I learned the importance of life and graduated from that cruel childhood age. Right now, you really are a child. A personality that I know Eva graduated from. That personality isn't Eva. It's a completely different human.
That's right. I am not Ushiromiya Eva. I'm the Golden Witch Beatrice. It's so fun not being bounded by any limitations, and the pleasure of being able to do as I will with life and death is truly wonderful. I don't have to apologize for breaking a goldfish bowl, and I can tear stuffed animals up as much as I want.
There was a crisp sound. It was the sound of Hideyoshi slapping the witch's face. Oh, come on. Don't try to make us sympathetic. It's... Looking at the hall stained deep red with fresh blood, he should have been able to imagine how terrible the witch was. Alright, I'm just gonna throw this theory out there, depending on if Hideyoshi dies or not. I think what might have actually happened is Eva followed Hideyoshi, Kyrie, and Rudolph, intending to kill Rudolph and Kyrie, and then slipped back. Well, intending to kill those two alongside Hideyoshi, but at this point Hideyoshi's just like, literally, why are we doing this after all? Because, really? Do we really have to kill them? And now Eva's probably gonna see it as betrayal and kill him? I don't know. It depends on if there's actually stakes put in Rudolph and Kyrie's bodies. And if Hideyoshi dies, also. But without fear, without even hesitating, Hideyoshi had walked determinedly up to her and hit her on the cheek. Just like, what?
You fool. Don't act like you're cruel, not when you're really a coward and a weakling. I'll correct that evil nature of yours again if I have to. You fool. Fool. Oh. I'll correct that evil nature of yours again if I have to. So did Hideyoshi and Eva actually meet at, like, the age that Eva Beatrice is supposed to be, and she was, like, fucking ludicrously crazy back then, and Hideyoshi tried his hardest to get that out of her or something? Ow! Ouch! Hey! You're a woman who understands how important, how fragile life is, aren't you? I'll make you remember. What are you calling a witch, you stupid fool? You're my wife, Ushiromiyas Eva. If anything, you're a witch of the kitchen, who can always make the perfect snacks out of refrigerator leftovers in a flash. Won't you open your eyes, you fool? Didn't I just tell you that I'm not Ushiromiyas Eva? You stupid fool. You. As tears dripped down his face, Hideyoshi kept hitting the witch's head. He wasn't even pointing the gun at her anymore. Therefore, that sound of gunfire couldn't have come from the gun Hideyoshi was holding. Huh? The gun which had fallen in the corner near Rudolf's corpse was floating in the air, and smoke lingered near the barrel. And the bullet? A red stain was slowly spreading across the chest section of Hideyoshi's vest. Even though his back was facing the barrel of the gun, the bullet had driven through Hideyoshi's chest. Eva. Ugh. Like I said, I'm not Eva. What a stupid, annoying man. You're a pain, so I'll switch the sacrifice of the sixth twilight to you. If only you just hidden under some bed shaking or something. I planned on letting you go. But no, you went to all the trouble of coming back. You really are a stupid man. Thunk. There was a dull sound as Hideyoshi fell to the floor. Even though death would have allowed him to escape from that pain, he resisted until the last second. And staring straight into the witch's eyes, he passed away. Because he had died without closing his eyes, the witch didn't realize that he was dead for a short while, and remained pinned by that gaze. Should we make this one a new toy and play? At those words, the witch finally realized that Hideyoshi was dead. Yeah, right now, what do we do? The Chiester sisters waited for instructions. On the inside, they imagined the sorts of even more brutal orders their master might give. But the expression that rose to the witch's face looked as though she'd gotten over her excitement. She looked down at Hideyoshi's face, which still had tears dripping down it. It's such a killjoy, and it's all this guy's fault. I'm done. Ronove, are you there? Yes, right here. Take care of the cleanup. I'll bet the predecessor makes a fuss over this one. Please make it clean enough for that old hag to accept. I guess I'll follow the rules of the ceremony out of a sense of obligation to my predecessor. Treat these 3 corpses as the 4th through 6th twilights. Lucifer, it's your turn. Lucifer of Pride, right here. Dig into these 3 corpses and gouge them. Into corpses? That's right. Got a problem with that? No. The 7 Sisters of Purgatory had their own sort of pride. It was the pride of a hunter, the pride of gouging prey that they had brought down themselves. However, being told to gouge a corpse that someone else had brought down ran contrary to that sentiment. Of course, the witch didn't mean it that way, but for the 7 sisters, it was horribly humiliating. However, they had already screwed this up, with 2 of the sisters defeated, so they had no right to question her. Only Ronove appreciated this, and he rested his hand on her shoulder in understanding. This is an order from Beatrice. Lucifer, carry these 3 and dispose of them in accordance with the etiquette of the ceremony. Then, when you are done, lend me a hand with the cleanup. Certainly. The witch looked down upon Hideyoshi's corpse, as though implying that the now delicate atmosphere was all Hideyoshi's fault. Stupid man, and you didn't even have to die. Oh. Dear. Dear, where are you? You're there, right? Answer me. The crash of a thunderbolt woke Eva from her nightmare. If Hideyoshi had been gripping her hand at that time, her fearful heart would probably have been instantly healed. However, Hideyoshi, who had supposedly sworn that he wouldn't leave even for a moment, was nowhere to be seen in the room. Dear, answer me! Dear! Okay. So I'm done for this episode with this transition, but before I end the episode, I'd like to say my theory of what I think just happened. Also, apparently it's 1:30. Sure, the deaths are happening rather fast, I guess. Alright, so what I think just happened is... Alright, as far as I know, the stakes are actually going to be placed into the bodies.
But it really depends on the wounds that show up on these 3 next episode. Because if it still shows, like, oh, they were all shot at some point, but, oh, there just happened to be a stake in his forehead. Oh, there just happened to be a stake in her chest. Oh, there just happened to be a stake in his stomach. Shit like that. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say what actually happened is these 3 went by themselves and Eva secretly followed. These 2, he knew that she was following. So these 2 were initially planning to kill these 2. And they shot them when they weren't looking. And one of them, the gun floating in the corner is what tipped me off here. I think one of these 2 with their dying breath probably shot at Hideyoshi and killed him, leaving just Eva. And, well, then the stakes, I guess. That's a problem, so I guess the first culprit found the bodies and decided, just like, we might as well make this the next Twilight. But it depends on where the stakes actually are, because if it's like forehead, stomach, chest, or something like that. Because it could, 2 of them might have, like, these 2 might still have the same wound, and if they do, then that means the real culprit isn't aware of these 2 dying. No, wait, they would have to be, because everyone's aware of those 2 so far. I don't know. So they might already know that these 2 would work for the second Twilight. So they're, no, not her. They're putting the stakes in those 3. Yeah, we'll figure it out up next episode, I'm sure. Either way, that's gonna be it for this episode. If you guys liked it, be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!